Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Act of Killing. And this movie came out in 2012, directed by Joshua Oppenheimer, and it's a documentary that has been on my watch list for years and years. And I finally got a chance to watch it because it was on Netflix, and I thought this movie was great. And before I get into my thoughts on the film, I just want to clarify which version I watched because, from what I know, there's two different versions. There's the theatrical cut, and there's the version that's longer. I think the theatrical cut is 2 hours long, and the extended edition or whatever is 2 hours and 40 minutes. And unfortunately, the only option I had was the 2 hour and 40-minute version, and Netflix calls it theatrical cut, when in reality, I think that's not the case. I think it's the other way around, but I could be wrong on that. And I personally would have preferred to watch the 2 hour version. Not saying that I didn't enjoy the movie. I thought it was great overall, but my biggest issue with this movie, I'm just going to get this out of the way, is that it did feel like it was getting a little repetitive at points, and also I just felt the runtime halfway through the movie, and I was just thinking to myself, okay, let's wrap this up. Let's move it along. Like, we don't really need to be going on for this long. But aside from that, there's lots of really great things that I love about this movie. There's points where it's really well shot, and it's interesting to watch. And I love the lack of music in this movie. I think that it adds a lot to the film, and it makes things legitimately more intense. And this is also a film that just highlights how human beings are and how they can just be cold and detached from reality. And this movie is funny at points, especially towards the beginning. But after that, you kind of stop laughing because the reality of the situation is that it's kind of sad and horrifying to watch at points. And I love how things are just reenacted and recreated. Like, you don't actually see anyone die in this movie, because obviously they can't show that. But they are like recreating what people would do. I just loved how that was presented. It didn't feel fake. It just felt like, yeah, this is something that we did. And I love how it kind of had a toll on these people, and it was really interesting to watch. And it was kind of reminding me of The Zone of Interest in a few ways, because I know a lot of people were talking about that movie and how it's just showing how cold and detached people are in that movie. But for me personally, this is more like what I wanted from that movie. And I also loved that the things that we were being shown, they were not only effective when they were being shown, but it was also showing like how evil people can be or can get. And that was one of my favorite things about the movie. There's a lot to soak in about this movie. There's a lot that it's saying. And this movie, well, I did watch the long version, but there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to absorb. There's a lot to think about. And to some extent, I like that. To some extent, I do think it's too much, for reasons that I already discussed. And while I do prefer the first half to the second half, I will say that in the second half, it's still good, but I do think the first half is a lot more effective in the things that it's showing. And just story-wise, I found the first half to be a bit more interesting. But the ending for this movie does save it for me, and really hits where it's supposed to, and that's what I really value in the second half, is the ending, and it was earned, and I loved it. I should also warn you that this is one of those movies that does take its time. Like, it really wants you to experience everything that's going on, and it doesn't want to gloss over anything, and it really develops everything as much as it can. So just keep that in mind. It's not a fast-paced movie. And that's about all I have to say about The Act of Killing. It was long, but most of it I really enjoyed. There's a lot that I like about this movie, and most of my positives are things that I love about it, and the things that don't work for me are mostly just its pacing, and just that it got a little repetitive. But I think it's mostly because I just watched the longer version of this movie. So unfortunately, I can only rate this movie based on which version that I watched. So if you loved this movie a lot more than I did, then enjoy it. It's just that the version I watched was, I feel, holding it back for me. So definitely check this movie out whenever you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Act of Killing an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of The Act of Killing, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for The Look of Silence. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.